submitted the work, and I set the deadline up to, if I'm not mistaken, 7 p.m. for, yeah, just make sure that you complete the assignment by tonight, perhaps.
Haris, I think we need to also inform participant that there is a slight mistake in typing in start here section. It is about the passing grade of the post test. It should be 70 instead of 60. But we saw your pre-test. I think everyone got a very good, I mean, a good mark. So I think it will be okay for all participants to pass 70 to get the 70 in their post test grade. So we do apologize. So everything should be the same with the announcement that you were seeing at the first time when you got the first information from the OTGA or IOC UNESCO website. So uh, the one which is valid is the one in the announcement. So please, we do apologize for the mistake in typing the requirement in the start here sections.
Yep. Thank you, Miss Annie.
Yes, and for the attendance, it also should be 90%. It should be actually 100%, but I'm asking OTGA to have only 90% because at the first day there are some people getting difficulties in doing the self-enrollment. So hopefully the OTGA will accept to change it into 90% for the attendance. That is all.
Hi all, I think we should start the session right now and let the other participants join perhaps during the session later. That is all right. To honor our time together. So, yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the final day of our training, this training on tsunami mitigation. I hope that you are all doing pretty good today. It's obviously been a meaningful journey over the past few days. I believe it filled with rich discussions, with knowledge sharing and valuable insights from both our speakers and you all, the participants. I want to thank you all for your consistent presence here, your active engagement, and also the experiences you have shared throughout the trainings, especially related to your own country's information. And today, as we wrap up our training, we will continue to explore some final key topics, which is about risk communications. And for today's session, we will have Miss Yoko Ota from Japan. So Miss Ota, if I'm not mistaken, Miss Ota is currently the project manager at Oriental Consultants Global and has over 15 years of experience working with communities, governments, and international partners across Asia, Africa, and Latin America. She holds a master's degree in international development from the University of Pittsburgh and has been actively engaged in numerous GICA, JICA projects, particularly in strengthening earthquake and tsunami early warning systems. So without further ado, Miss Ota, the time is yours.
Thank you very much for introducing myself, and then I will start the presentation. So thank you very much. So I will share my screen. Okay. Good morning or good afternoon, good evening, everybody from all over the world. This is Yoko Ota. I'm taking care of the lecture of the risk communication. So today's lecture consists of the brief introduction and the risk communication for disaster, like the agency for issuing tsunami warning messages. And also, I was a consultant to work with BMKG from 2020 to 2025. So based on the experience with the BMKG, I can give you some like the insight of the actual experience of the project implementation. And also I can introduce you the example of Japan for the tsunami warning messages. So that is the table of contents. So the composition of the lectures today will be, it's going to be 2 hours. So maybe first half part of the presentation, and then I will have 10 minutes break, and then we'll have question and answer session in the last 20 minutes. So if you have any questions, please ask me or please light up in the chat box so that I can be ready for the question and answer session for in the last 20 minutes. So, as introduced by Karis from the BMKG, I'm working with the consultant of the Oriental Consultants Global Consulting Firm in Japan. And then as explained, I'm not a seismologist or oceanologist. I'm like the social major in social science and public administration. So I'm a part working in a part of the disaster education and disaster information dissemination. So currently I'm working in the Philippines and Mongolia, and then in the past several years, I was working in also Myanmar and the Chile for the awareness raising and disaster information dissemination. So before starting to my lecture, I just have to briefly explain about what our project have done. I was the consultant for the Japan International Cooperation Agency, abbreviated as JICA, and then we worked with BMKG for the project for the capacity development and operation of earthquake and tsunami analysis and warning dissemination. So more than half of the lecturer in this week, we worked with the lecturers of the BMKG, for 3 years. And then also, sorry, it's Indonesian agency. So BMKG and also like the agency for volcano eruption and like the volcano observation, also BIG for the like geographic information and national disaster information National Disaster Management Agency, Information Agency, and also local disaster management agency. We worked with various kind of stakeholders because the disaster information entails not only BMKG, but also other related agency in terms of data of acquisition and also dissemination from the national level to the communities. So I was in charge of the output for in the bottom line that improve the dissemination methodology of earthquake information and tsunami warning. I was conducting the survey for the disaster stricken area and the tsunami stricken area in 2018, and also we were working with BMKG with improvement of the tsunami warning message, the pop-up messages, so that for better understanding of the receivers of the information, such as disaster management related agencies. So I was working that kind of project, and then I will put on some like the example and the insight throughout the course of my lectures. So for I believe you were from the various kind of countries. So and then in the last 4 days of the lecture, I believe the instructor fully explained about what BMKG is doing, and including the, for example, Inatel's, tsunami warning system. So as a common, like the universal language, I will use BMKG for, the warning dissemination agency of the disaster, like the earthquake and tsunami. So the role of the, agency is issue the tsunami warning message. And also at the same time, in order for the receiver to understand the implication of the warning messages, they are responsible for developing the educational material for better mutual understanding. And then for the perspective of the risk communication, for making educational material and issuing warning message, most thing that we should avoid is the underestimation of the risk. And then and then we have to take notes that receiver of the information tend to underestimate the risk. So my lecture will go through with the example of how Japan tried to update the tsunami warning message by learning from the bitter experience of the people's underestimation of the tsunami risk when the Japan Meteorological Agency issued a tsunami warning. So as a brief, introduction and a brief insight, usually experts thought they fully inform the threat of the tsunami in the warning messages. And in many cases, the receiver took it differently. Just because there are many reasons for misunderstanding or misconception, I will tell it in the latter part of the presentation. But many cases, receiver got panicked because the earthquake that triggered tsunami is always, in many cases, it's so strong. So in earthquake, after the big ground shake, of course, the receiver got panicked. And then they lost control and then could not interpret properly the message because they worried about so many things, and then they cannot concentrate on the messages that the meteorological agency issued information. And also, I believe the participants are from various countries, but I would say tsunami is low frequent disaster comparing to, in many cases, flood, like the landslide or heavy rain. Comparing to this disaster, tsunami is low frequent disaster. Even for Japan, in my lifetime, I could only see like 3 times of like the devastating tsunami that killed a lot of people in Japan. So, Japan is one of the most tsunami-prone country, but still, like that tsunami occurs in every more than like that 10 years. So in this case, normal people, receivers of the information forget what they have learned before, and then they don't have sense. Or for those who haven't experienced tsunami, they cannot imagine the implication of the messages. So these are the problem statement for the risk communication of the tsunami, earthquake and tsunami warning message information. So this part will introduce about the procedure of tsunami warning message update of Japan based on the Great Eastern Japan earthquake that occurred in 2021 in 4 parts. So why a tsunami warning improvement was necessary? And then in the devastating tsunami, the Japan Meteorological Agency and the stakeholders of the tsunami mitigation identified the issue. Why did how did the resident respond to the warning? And also, it's a part of PDCA process, plan, do, check, action, and planning and implementing solution. How to make the tsunami warning more understandable. And then we'll wrap up the part for lessons learned and for the future prospect. So again, as an introduction, firstly, I think most of you know about the tsunami in 2011 Great East Japan earthquake. The background is that a tsunami warning was issued approximately 3 minutes after the earthquake occurred. So, but it turned out, I think most of you have seen the news of the how tsunami. Probably it might be unbelievable for you that some of the people living in the tsunami affected area did not evacuate for some reasons. So this was a critical issue. I heard that the experts did not expect that people did not evacuate for such gigantic earthquake that triggers tsunami. So we have to think about how could this happen to the people, the receivers of the information. And then it turned out that simply providing the, sorry, can you see the screen? My screen? Okay? Okay, 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 okay. Okay, okay, okay. So that might be Miss Laruka. Other people can see, probably we have to consult with BMKG for like the technical issues. So did Mr. Karis or Annie could help them?
Okay. We can't see your presentation.
Okay, okay.
Yes,
Oh,
from our
okay.
side, we can see your presentation very
Okay,
clear.
okay. So, okay, can I continue? Okay.
Perhaps, Raluca, maybe you should try to go out and come back again if you find difficulties in having the slides.
I think
Present.
other people are okay with that.
Okay.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you very much for the confirmation. So I will continue for my part. Okay. So, okay, I will start. The observation and the survey became clear that, providing the, technically correct information, the accurate information with numerical value is, not enough for to save people's life. I mean, that is urging the evacuation. So, and then the long discussion among the experts in Japan made it clear that we should we should update the information of the tsunami warning because in the perspective of the residents or recipient, because it's a perspective of Japan Meteorological Agency, warning agency. As a perspective risk communication, of course, the people in the operation room, the duty officer communicating with in the cannot directly communicate with the resident or receivers of the information, but they will issue the information. In that case, uh, uh, the way of communicating with the meteorological agency or warning issuing agency and recipient is the survey of the direct receiver of the information and the communication with the various field of the stakeholders, like the university and like also government official and the mass media and various kind of people who receive the information and who respond to the information. So, we'll explain about case study for validation of the tsunami or risk. First step is a thorough investigation of the cause. Why people did not evacuate, or what makes them preventing evacuation. So, in order to find out the reasons for, and also finding out the tendency of the evacuation actions, evacuation response, that Japan Meteorological Agency has established interdisciplinary study group consisting of academics, government ministries and agencies, and the local government and media and others. The purpose was to analyze the relationship between the resident evacuation behavior and tsunami information, and then to use the result for future evacuation measure, including the warning message and also how to convey the message in the media, and also disaster management agency or like the municipality who are in charge of evacuation, ordering the evacuation to the residents. So, the case study, I will briefly introduce the research methodology. Who did we ask and what did we ask? So, of course, the receivers of the information is not a single receiver, but also various characteristics. So, the Japan Meteorological Agency conducted like the 3 surveys. the interview survey of the evacuees in the affected areas. So the target is the residents of the coastal area of Iwate, Miyagi, and Fukushima prefectures, the three prefectures that are heavily affected by tsunami. And then method of the interview is visit of the temporary evacuation shelter, and then they did face-to-face survey to understand the perspective of the people who actually evacuated. And then the second survey is survey of the resident and disaster prevention officers in other regions. The target is resident and staff from Hokkaido Prefecture to the Western Japan, where tsunami warning have been issued. So the first interview is the people in the really affected area, three major affected area. The second survey is the area who are from somewhat extent affected area or very small tsunami or to the heavily affected area. So it varies the target. Then also the third one is online public comment collection. So they collected the information from the general public and then the stakeholders of the tsunami information. That's a prefecture. It's like the province on the province level of the Indonesia, and the cities like the municipalities, town villages. It's a small size of the cities. Like the population is less than 50,000 and 10,000 small city, and also broadcasting company who are taking the critical roles for making evacuation actions. So, by the way, for I think it's depending on the law and regulation of the country. So usually, Japan, of course, the order for issuing the evacuation order is a responsibility of mayor, the municipality. But as you know, in case of near field tsunami, estimated arrival time of the tsunami can be really early, in some cases less than 5 minutes. In that case, administrative line and communication and issuing the evacuation order is too late. So there is a regulation, the interdisciplinary study group established a regulation that for the case of tsunami warning, the anchor of the TV can say, please evacuate. They can say, please evacuate. The tsunami is coming, so please evacuate. They can say, tsunami is coming and please evacuate. And then for the TV screen, also they can show. Maybe I can show you later on the earthquake and tsunami information in Japan TV screen. They say tsunami evacuate. So the law of the issuing the tsunami evacuation order is slightly different, country by country. But in case of Japan, TV screen can say tsunami and evacuate. Tsunami is coming and can evacuate. So that's why we include broadcasting companies. So for the reference, for those who are interested in this kind of like the investigation or like the ethnography of the how tsunami, how to validate the tsunami risk and how to understand the conception of the people in the affected area, I will just introduce the first survey. What could this happen? And then to analyze the objective was to analyze the relationship, as I said, tsunami evacuation action and disaster damage, and to compile the material for promoting the necessary evacuation countermeasure. I will introduce, and this is the latter part of the presentation. But educational material should focus on the point that a lot of people do not understand or are likely to be mistaken. Or misunderstanding. So this survey was designed to identify what kind of things that the comment and the warning is misleading, or it's difficult for them to understand, what kind of background knowledge is lacking to interpret the tsunami warning messages. So the target of the survey is, as I said, sample survey. As explained, citizens living in the tsunami affected area is like the Iwate prefecture for 390%, Miyagi prefecture for 380%, and Fukushima for 90%. It's like the 700 people are directly interviewed. The methodology of survey is, as I said, and the surveyor visited the evacuation site and directly interviewed to the evacuees. And so withholding the detailed questionnaire and exchange the question and answer, and then after responded consent to answer the questionnaire. And then the timing of the survey is beginning to the end of the July in 2011. So that means like the 4 months after the earthquake and tsunami. If it takes too long, people are easy to forget. So, but in the really early response phase, of course, people cannot afford to conduct the interview. So it takes them 4 months to be ready for the interview. Not too long to forget what kind of action that the recipient of the information taken. So it's a sample of the survey. By the way, how to develop the questionnaire survey item is according to the person who responded to the Great Eastern Japan earthquake in 2011. An official from the Japan Meteorological Agency, in collaboration with the university, I think university in Tokyo, were sit together and then try identify the issues and identify the items that the warning issuing agency would like to know, and then they work together to develop the questionnaires. Then item of the survey is mainly how information about the tsunami information. So what kind of information they could identify, and from where they can get the information, like the large tsunami warning and the estimated tsunami height, observed tsunami height, evacuation advisory, or they can hear the information. And also source of the information, how they could get the information of the tsunami warning. So TV, radio, administrative, like the, how should I put, warning network, the wireless network such as Siren. And also TV or radio installed in the car, mobile phone, or the cars, or the family neighbors, or the police, or fire brigade, whatsoever. So they confirm what kind of source of the information that can get. And also what kind of influence will determine the people to evacuate. For example, if they hear the warning messages, I thought, okay, I need to evacuate. And then also they have to check the validity of the tsunami warning. So estimated height of the tsunami did not impress. Or even though if they hear the information, but it doesn't affect evacuation action. or if without hearing the warning, people thought, okay, if this area and the Tohoku region, the affected area of Great Eastern Japan earthquake, it's not the first time to experience a tsunami. This area is periodically experience tsunami, so more or less people are aware that tsunami might come in this coastal area if the big earthquake occurs. It's depending on the person to what extent they could fully grasp the risk, but they are not totally ignorant about the risk of the tsunami because of the past history of tsunami. But still, somewhat there is an option that they don't evacuate. And also, influence of the estimated tsunami height. How it can be influential for the evacuation. So, okay, if this kind of height of the tsunami is expected, they said, okay, I need to evacuate, or did not feel the necessity to evacuate. And also information update. The case of, for those who may be aware of the tsunami of the Great Eastern Japan earthquake, one of the issues and the challenges that faced was the first estimated tsunami height was not really that high, like the 3 meters, and issued by JMA in the first phase. But JMA updated the estimated tsunami height into like the 8 meter, 10 meters higher. So this is a background. So did you see about this kind of updating of the tsunami information? And then also the second one was the reason for not hearing about the updated information. Could not afford to listen. Of course, affected area, earthquake damage is so strong, and then they cannot afford. They need to evacuate. Also, there is no information because they are highly probable. Of course, the municipality office is also affected by the disaster. And people cannot listen to the information because of the blackout. And of course, we cannot use a mobile phone. Or they could not pay attention to the tsunami and other reasons. So these are the main questions were asked by designed for the JMA. What kind of information and what kind of warning and what kind of impression the warning would affect for the people to evacuate. So the observation. So 4 barriers are revealed in the survey. So maybe after experience the 4 barriers, we'll have breaks. So of course, first one is really easy to imagine. The recipient cannot hear the information. Say, approximately half of the evacuees in the affected area had not heard information of the tsunami warning and advisory. You can easily imagine because of the blackout. Power outage means, we cannot watch the TV, we cannot listen to the radio, and then also, mobile phone the communication is cut off. And then a lot of people answered. The ground shaking was so strong that they're panicked, and then they couldn't even think about it. And the major reason was communication were cut off. So we have to assume that the most like the half of the affected area person cannot hear the tsunami warning messages. because, or mostly because it was heavily damaged by the earthquake. The second barrier is they could not update the information because they cannot update the information. As I explained, JMA first reissued the information of the estimated tsunami height. And then after obtaining the information of the various parameters, like the hypocenter determination and also the observed data of the tide gauge and, or any other information, they will update the tsunami height, also observed date, arrival height. So the tsunami warning will be updated. But they cannot hear the updated information. Then, the first information, approximately half cannot hear information. And then for the updated information, more than half of the people were unaware of the warning had been updated. And then also estimated tsunami height lies. They did not realize and they did not aware of the first estimated height and the second estimated height, the changes, because they couldn't hear. Of course, the reason is also imaginable. They didn't have time to listen, of course, because when the first evacuation order, the first tsunami arrival is hard, and then devastating earthquake, they have to rush for the immediate evacuation. So once they got the information, they will pack up and they contact the family and whatsoever. They will do immediate action. So they don't even have time or they cannot afford to get the updated information. And then also the blackout and the communication cutoff, the major reason for obtaining not obtaining the updated information of the tsunami, and also disparate. Wasn't mentioned. Also, people do not know tsunami information existence of the tsunami warning information update. Some people misunderstood tsunami information is issued only one time. They don't know the existence of updating. So, okay. So, we'll move on to the barrier 3 and barrier 4. This is mostly related to the risk communication part, the perception of the tsunami risk. The third one is the trap of the underestimation. So, first, a tsunami warning message was issued. The projected tsunami height was 3 meters. I don't know why. Personally, I'm Japanese, but I don't know why. But approximately 20% of the people answered. They don't think 3-meter tsunami. If they said 3-meter tsunami, it's not necessary for them to evacuate. I don't know. Personally, I don't know why. But some people answered. They don't think there were any need to evacuate. And they also implies the, as I mentioned before, large number of people may do not know tsunami warning can be updated. So in the context of BMKG in Indonesia, existence of the PD2, PD3 updated information, and observe the data update. They don't know the existence. So they cannot even think of the tsunami warning may be updated and the estimated tsunami arrival height will be higher after the investigation of the, various parameters collected from various sources. That can be natural. Regular people shouldn't, it's kind of hard for the regular people to imagine this kind of the mechanism of the tsunami modeling and updating the information. So it's natural. I think it's too much. Probably even Japanese people, it's almost impossible for them to understand the mechanism of tsunami, warning system to all of the people to educate. So, but this is the fact that there are certain number of people do not feel 3 meter as a risk. And then also, there are the major reasons revealed in the questionnaire survey. People hesitate to evacuate because of the assumption. I think in the case of the Great Eastern Japan earthquake in Tohoku region was that it's lower than the seawall on the embankment in my area. So it was okay. Of course, the embankment is not covering all the coastal region. And if there is a river, the tsunami will go along, go up to the river and then the area will be inundated. But of course, people lost control and the people cannot be calm. It's we call it normality bias. They tend to be optimistic. Okay, if we have seawall and embankment, they will protect us. So no need to evacuate. So they don't think about just in case thing. And also, there are confusion about the terminology of the tsunami warning. So the first arrival height, first arrival height is the height in the coastal area. But the first arrival height and maximum height is different. It tends to be the first arrival height is really not that high, and the maximum arrival height will be higher than first arrival height. So a lot of confusion of first arrival height and the maximum height in the tsunami warning messages, so that they underestimate it. Okay, first, and also many people don't have knowledge that first arrival height and the differences of the first arrival height and the maximum height. So they thought, when they say the first arrival height will low, they thought, okay, I don't need to evacuate. So these are the causes. And they also, again, if they are calm and if they could concentrate on the interpretation of the messages, but it's not the case. As shaking was so strong and they got panic and they have to think about immediate evacuation and confirm the safety of the people. They cannot be calm. So that if we use it too much jargons or too much misreading expression, that kind of confusion occurs. So localized risk perception, it's references. As I said, coastal area that have embankment tend to feel that embankment will block the tsunami. And also I'm working in the Philippines right now, and then they said the resident of the inland area, this part, they said the local folklore that this small island, this small island broke the tsunami, and long time ago. And so even if the earthquake occurs, this island will block the tsunami, and this area will be the safe. There were local folklore, and people said. So the people in the disaster management agency had time to persuade the people. Hey, at this time, of course, you can see that this small island, there are so many. This small island cannot block the tsunami. No scientific evidence, and also they did tsunami modeling. And of course, the area will be inundated. But somewhat, there might some areas there are like the local folk, like the non-scientific local folklore that discourage the people from evacuating. So there are cases. Okay. So also the misconception of the tsunami warning that when I was working in Indonesia, and also common misunderstanding of the disaster management related agency are that I think in the latter former day, like the first or second day of the lecture, I think Dr. Wijayanto or somebody made a presentation about INATEUS, the tsunami warning system in Indonesia. So a lot of the practitioner in the local level, common misunderstanding was that tsunami simulation is totally automated with super high accuracy. They can do the modeling and tsunami warning in a second. Times like the magic box. But it's not the magic for the practitioners. The experts or scientists should know. Well, no, it's common sense. The tsunami warning and the hypocenter determination warning, the calculation, it's not total 100% automated. They have the warning message needs the intervention of the human. But in this kind of thing, people do not know. And then also, the science cannot 100% overcome the natural phenomena. So, the accuracy is not always 100%, of course. But this kind of things are not common, not aware among the local agencies. So, like they complained, why tsunami warning is issued in 3 minutes? It takes so long time. We should know, we should get the information in 1 minute or something like this. They complain like this. It's impossible to make super accurate tsunami warning information with 1 minute. But the perspective of the receivers of the information who don't understand the mechanism of the tsunami warning would think like this. And then also, so they don't know the technical limitation of the world of the tsunami. So for the people in disaster response, they should know that kind of fact. Science is not a magic. We have to do some intervention or consideration or calculation. So it should have lead time. And also, as I said, there is a possibility of updating the information or estimated tsunami height will be updated. So this kind of mechanism, if they don't have that kind of perception, they cannot grasp the tsunami risk correctly. So it's also the necessary part of the risk communication among warning issuing agency with the response agencies. And then also if there, once the big earthquake occurs, also response agency cannot pay attention to the updated tsunami information because they are too busy for early response after the response of the earthquake and after getting the first warning message. They should immediately disseminate the information or urge people to evacuate. So in the case of Indonesia, and mostly for the country who do not experience frequent tsunami, like for example, once in a lifetime disaster, a technical limitation of the tsunami warning for the DRO agency, we should think about it. Most likely, they do not know what kind of limitation and what kind of like the expectation they should make from the warning agency. So the lesson from Japan, they say we should also communicate with the technical limitation of the tsunami warning, not to overtrust. We should listen to, but not overtrust in case of like the urging the self-evacuation. This was the case study that I experienced working in Indonesia. The last one is the gap in risk perception. So again, I saw the questionnaires before. So the 47% of the resident who answered that they don't feel that 2 meters of the tsunami is very dangerous. 47% of the resident. Of course, 2 meters is mostly higher than the height of the human. So I also don't know why they don't feel 2 meters is dangerous. Maybe because of the embankment, or they misunderstand the flood and tsunami. Of course, the power of the tsunami and the power of the flood is totally different, but they may not be able to distinguish the differences 2 meters of the flood and 2 meters of the tsunami. The detailed information is not disclosed to the public, but I do not have clue why such a large number of the people do not feel that tsunami of the 2 meter is very dangerous. On the other hand, still 22% is pretty big number, but the disaster prevention official feel 2 meter of the tsunami is not dangerous. Of course, 2 meter of the tsunami is dangerous. So there were big issues. There is a difference in the risk perception between residents and experts. This part raises a very major discussion. Should we provide a specific numerical value for the large-scale earthquake? I mean, if we provide a number, there are risk of underestimation of the risk because 47% of the people said 2 meters of the tsunami is not dangerous. In that case, if we provide 2 meters, of course, then the perspective of the expert, hey, you should evacuate, 2 meters of the tsunami is coming, but they took it differently. Okay, 2 meters is not a big deal. So by providing the specific numerical value, discourage the people to evacuate. So there was a discussion, should we provide a number? In the perspective of course, DRR related official, for those who are responsible for disaster response, there are comments that they need to know the figure, numerical value of the tsunami expected height because, of course, they need emergency response. They need to know, they need to be prepared. They need to be expected for the tsunami numerical value that can be used for trigger action. So, for example, if it's more than 3 meters, we should urge the evacuation to the person in that area, or we should prepare specific, rescue gears for this kind of thing. The height of the tsunami can be the trigger action for the disaster response. For the practitioner or response official, they need to know the number in the first phase. So there was a big discussion what to do. So in there, both sides, the perspective is critical because people should evacuate. Tsunami warning should not discourage the people to evacuate. At the same time, tsunami warning, tsunami height is critical for disaster response. So, and what kind of, so there was a discussion and then conclusion will be explained in the latter part of the presentation. And also the Indonesian case, there was so many confusion of the return period. In the tsunami affected area in 2018, also the information from warning messages included the risk information of the return period through the social media. And then according to the recipient of the interview, receiver took tsunami will not come in the next 20 years. It's not the case, of course. And so that they took it. For sure, next 20 years, tsunami will not come. So for thinking about the 20 years, it's safe to buy a house in the red zone because the tsunami won't come in 20 years. It's not the case, but there are some like the misconception of the world. And then they also underestimated the risk of the tsunami by seeing the messages. So there are many cases also in Japan and Indonesia that raise the misconception or the confusion that may result in the underestimation of the tsunami risk. So, of course, it is 100% possible to remove this kind of misconception, miscommunication of the tsunami risk. But there are measures. The government of Japan and the stakeholders took necessary measure to minimize the miscommunication of the tsunami risk. They took it on several measures to fill the conception gap. So this will be explained after 5 minutes break. So, okay. So from now, it's like the 1:05 now. So we'll come back and sorry, I talked in Japanese time. So for Indonesian time, 11:05 right now. So we'll resume the latter part of my lecture in 11 time in Indonesian time. With, is it okay?
Yeah.
So you can everyone can take a deep breath and grab some coffee and something to drink. And then we'll come back in 5 minutes. Then if you have any question, also you have time to type up the questions that can be answered during the question and answer session. So thank you very much for the first half of the lecture, and we'll see you in 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, so it is time for us to back to the latter part of the presentation. So the first part of the presentation described the challenges of the tsunami warning messages during the Great Eastern Japan earthquake in 2011. And then I especially focused on the misconception, misunderstanding, and perception gap of the tsunami warning issuing message agencies and receivers of the information. So, based on the lessons and finding and also stakeholder consultation of the tsunami warning messages, the government of Japan established 4 policies that keep the expression simple and easy to understand. Yeah, was the bitter experience of misconception and underestimation of the jargon, such as, first arrival height and the maximum arrival height of the confusion. And then also, not only the height of the tsunami, also we should indicate the risk of disaster that may lead the evacuation. And then also we should effectively combine the qualitative and numerical data, taking into consideration an accuracy and timing of the information. This was the lessons from the information that, 47% of the people did not feel the 2 meter of the tsunami is not dangerous, and also some people, 3 meter is not necessary to evacuate, but it's not, or something like that. At the same time, we should provide a numeric value for further response. And then also highlight the important point and add flags, like the mark, to make the changes so that we can immediately visible when updating the information. That is the case because some people did not realize that updating the tsunami information, of course, ignorance can be the reason, but also they are too busy and they are too panic, so that they cannot fully concentrate on checking the tsunami warning information in the front line of the tsunami response. So, firstly, I will explain it one by one. Improvement measure, fundamental review of the way things are expressed. The problem was the set specific figure 3 meter carries the risk of discouraging people from evacuating if it's underestimated. Of course, we educate. We educate. 3 meter of tsunami is not it's a big deal. We should evacuate. But the thing is, as I explained, tsunami is low frequent disaster comparing to the heavy rain and earthquake. So we should not expect that 100% of the people should clearly understand that 3 meter tsunami is the definitely need for the evacuation. Of course, this is the premise. But still, we should take into the consideration of the fact 47% of the people, Japanese people think, and 2 meter, it's not a big deal. It's not dangerous. So, starting point is that certain number of the people underestimate the risk of the tsunami. Solution is that in the first report of the massive earthquake of magnitude 8 or more, we don't use the specific numbers. So of course, that case, in the magnitude 8 or more earthquake, it's a gigantic earthquake. They are most likely that tsunami will be that trigger tsunami, and then in that case, for example, the observation may not function, and there are a lot of risk. The risk will be higher, and the risk of for example, underestimation of the magnitude and estimated tsunami will be also higher than the earthquake less than magnitude 8. So magnitude 8 is just a threshold, and the gigantic earthquake, that case, we decided to not use the specific number, decided to use the qualitative expression. We call it like a giant. The word giant is like in Japan to evoke, it's a super emergency. Giant is comparing to the scale of the Great Eastern Japan earthquake. So, in case of Japan, even though we are not living in the affected area, we know what happened in 2011. Almost all Japanese people who are born, even though we have been educating what happened to 2011 in Japan. So if we evoke, okay, this tsunami, this was the expected tsunami is the scale of Great East Japan earthquake, people should immediately imagine that this is emergency, and then they should take evacuation action immediately. And also high tsunami. High tsunami it's not like the Great Eastern Japan earthquake. It's still high, and then they need immediate evacuation. So we don't use the first estimated arrival height is 30 centimeter, or in the case of gigantic tsunami, to avoid a misconception. So in the case of the Indonesia, the perception of Awas and Siaga, so do we think about is they took this information as it is, or they're also the perception is same as the sender or receiver, this kind of thing. The second case, the measure is that clarify in the announcement timeline. This is corresponding to the information that more than half of the people and the affected people are not aware, did not listen to the updated tsunami information. This is, of course, mostly because of the communication cutoff and blackout, or they were just running for the evacuation. But still, there are a certain number of people who do not know the existence of the updated tsunami information. So I'm sorry, it's written in Japanese, but that indicated. Sorry. That indicated that part is they said it's like the movie from the Cabinet Office of Japan who are in charge of disaster risk reduction. So they said earthquake occurs, at least you can see the number. After 3 minutes, the first tsunami warning. In case of Indonesia, that's PD1. And then they said, also they indicated that the expected height in case of gigantic earthquake, the government of Japan indicated that we do not provide a numeric value in case of gigantic earthquake, the giant or high. So to notify the government officials that if the first warning message, if they do not provide a number, that is the big deal. The tsunami inundation height will be really high, indicating that so they can associate the high risk without providing a specific number, and without providing a specific number, we try to minimize the underestimation of the regular people. Then also we put on 15 minutes. So the video try to publicize that tsunami warning will be updated. Then, and after 15 minutes, we will provide a specific number with certain level of accuracy, because in 15 minutes, the JMA or BMKG have time to collect the information and to validate the tsunami warning message. So with certain level of accuracy can be assured in after 15 minutes. So we try to publicize this mechanism of the tsunami warning messages to minimize the misconception and then to be aware of the existence of the updated tsunami messages. So this is the second measures. And then the third one is the observation, new expression, under observation. And as I said, the problem was, the first observed height, the first tsunami observed is often small, and then the tsunami the maximum height is high. So the first tsunami observation height, so this communication figure can create a misunderstanding. So, okay, this amount is not, it's small, so we'll need to evacuate. So this will lead the delay in evacuation. First observed height and the maximum observed height, and after updating information, that figure will be high, but first arrival height may cause the delay of the information. So the solution that they did is, while a high tsunami is warning level and high tsunami was expected, while the observed value is still low, we don't try to provide a specific number, but the figure is not released. Then they said, the statement was made that observation were ongoing, so that we don't have to show the specific small number that may discourage the people to evacuate. Then, so if they say the observation were ongoing, for those who have knowledge of the experts or disaster response people, also that word can trigger, okay, this tsunami would be warning level high tsunami. So by seeing the observation were ongoing, the people who understand can easily imagine high tsunami is expected. At the same time, preventing the people to underestimate the tsunami value, and then prevent discouraging the evacuation. So then also the another way is public relations. Yeah, and the survey and stakeholder consultation raised a lot of issues of the misconception of uh, of the tsunami warning messages, and there are a lot of issues. And then it turned out, Japanese citizens, a lot of Japanese citizens misunderstand the mechanism of tsunami or misunderstand the risk of the tsunami. So that was the finding. So, not only updating the expression of tsunami warning, but also there is a huge the necessity of raising the awareness of the people not to misunderstand the risk of tsunami and not so the solution that we can do will be the poster leaflet and any video for awareness raising materials for so that people can correctly interpret the tsunami warning and percept the risk and take necessary measure for the evacuation. So we created the poster and for the Japanese comedian actually who are in the tsunami affected area in the day of Great Eastern Japan earthquake, March 11th. So the Japanese comedian were actually experienced great shake, and then also they evacuated the higher area, and then they experienced the evacuation. So they use the celebrity that have experience. So their word is powerful because they are the affected people. If the place, because they might be killed by the tsunami, was really like the close. They were living in, they were in the near the epicenter. So this kind of the person, affected person who have powerful message, they use the person in the poster. Also because the persons are on the TV show, and then they are personally doing the awareness raising activity to tell the risk of tsunami, to tell the danger of the tsunami. So the messages on the poster, the most important message on the poster was such as, if you heard the word huge, that is this part, giant, the huge. The part huge. Huge, a high. We should immediately evacuate. Like this. Because of the publicity, right? I cannot put on the poster though. And then also the leaflet. More detailed information was a diagram and photograph. And how to read the tsunami hazard map. Sorry, I skipped some part. Okay, sorry. And So the PR and awareness raising is the simply changing the warning system is, we realize it's totally meaningless. Simply changing the warning system. Also still, without publicizing, without awareness raising, there will be repetition of the misconception, misunderstanding. So the government of Japan and Japan Meteorological Agency felt the necessity, the meaning of new alert message. So JMA worked with the relevant organization and company, or even like the school, to carry out the public relation and awareness raising using a variety of media. And then so I think I show this, the screenshot of the movie. So the government of Japan created the explanatory video available over the government internet TV and other platform. So main contents of the video is examined based on the lessons of the explanation, the survey, so they focus on the point that what they misunderstand, what kind of things they should tell. So the main contents of the video was background explanation of why the warning messages was changed because of the lessons learned from the Great East Japan earthquake, and also explain the word of huge. It's a emergency that is equivalent to the scale of Great Eastern Japan earthquake. And the last two parts specifically targeting the misperception of the risk, critical part of the risk communication as warning issue agency. The concrete example of damage would be presented, such as I said, some people say 2 meters is not dangerous, or if we heard 3 meters, certain number of people do not evacuate. So they created the concrete image, what the 3 meter of tsunami means. For example, Japanese house, not mansion or apartment, Japanese like the private house that is made from wood, so wooden house. So they explained that wooden house will be completely destroyed by the 3 meter of tsunami, and also not only like this bird, 50 centimeter, because some people misunderstand the inundation of tsunami and inundation of the flood. So also this movie explains that even 50 centimeter, 1 meter of tsunami, people cannot stand. Even 50, if the tsunami's power is strong, 50 centimeter of tsunami can wash the car away or something like this. So try to reduce the knowledge gap of the misconception of the tsunami in that video. So this is the two part that they focus on for the video content. If the video is too long, people just lost attention to that. So, if you see the tsunami warning, evacuate to the like the place or something for the common sense thing, we don't use it. But we really focus on what Japanese people do not understand, what they tend to misunderstand, and also the major part of the update of the tsunami by explaining the word, not to misconcept the word. So this is the part. So then so these are the 4 specific measures that the government of Japan made an effort for after experiencing the Great Eastern Japan earthquake. So for us, in order for us to summarize what I have explained, so I can say 4 points that technical accuracy alone is not enough. It is essential to think about the recipient's perspective, to imagine how it will be received by the participant. So this is as I explained, I'm Japanese, but I have been working with other countries. Now in the Philippines, and I worked in Chile before, and in Nigeria before, the tsunami affected country. And then I conducted an interview of the perception of the tsunami to other country, and I really feel that the perception, of course, within Japan is different, but within country is totally different. So I am not sure if the country of the participant have that kind of mechanism to conduct a survey of the perception of the risk of the tsunami by thorough way. But this kind of, in order for them, for the warning issuing agency to determine the template or determine the warning, the thorough survey of the receiver's perception is different, is critical. And then also, importance of, how to communicate the uncertainty. So, said in the case of Indonesia, like for example, Inateus, there are so many misconceptions of the Minateus is the magic. They are magic with the magic rod with 30 seconds. Every tsunami warning will be clear, and every calculation is finished with super high accuracy. Or like it's not the case. And then also in Japan as well, in Great East Japan earthquake, the tsunami inundated in many places more than the height of the existing hazard map. And then the broadcast said, more than expected, out of our expectation. There are so many news. I heard more than 100 times in the broadcast. More than expected, more than estimation. So at that time, I thought Japanese people also learn the hazard map is not perfect. And then also tsunami warning cannot be 100% accurate within 3 minutes. So in that case, people, at least regular people, can be ready, can be prepared, thinking about and underestimating, okay, if they said, but what about thinking tsunami might be higher? So in this case, shall we climb, if we have time, shall we climb up 1 floor more or a higher hill? or also there might be technical limitation. So if the earthquake is gigantic, what about observation? Equipment might be damaged so that the accuracy cannot be assured, or we should communicate with the uncertainty. So with uncertainty, understand the uncertainty, we should communicate technical limitations so that people do risk of misunderstanding or misperception or underestimation can be reduced by communication to people be qualitative expectation, worst case scenario, or people can self-evacuate or can take action thinking about worst case scenario and for safer side, not to be, underestimating. So that's the second point of important point for the communication of the risk as well. Then, as said, also improving the information is not a one-time effort. It is important to have the continuous feedback system that evolve, investigation, improvement, public relation, and re-evaluation. So, as said, also tsunami is not a high frequent disaster. So there is no chance for like the once a year kind of the investigation. But in case of warning information of the heavy rain and like the flood, like the landslide, also Japan Meteorological Agency is in charge of like the meteorological disaster and sediment disaster. In case of relatively high frequency disaster, the warning contents of major warning is updating. I don't say frequently, but in several times, because also not only it's an earthquake and tsunami, also sediment disaster and flooding. There are problems on people to not evacuate because of the underestimation. For example, last time it was okay, so this time it will be okay, or something. Or, for example, the cases of discouraging the evacuation was in the heavy rain and the flood was, there are special warning. In Japan, there is an expression of a special warning that requires immediate evacuation. So, but one area, special warning of the heavy rain. And there was a special, then after that, special warning of the heavy rain and special warning of the flood was issued. But then after that, special warning of the heavy rain was lifted, but still special warning of the flood is remaining. But many people misunderstand. Once the special warning of the heavy rain was lifted, also the the warning of the flood was also lifted. They misunderstood. So they stopped the evacuation, or they tried to go back to their part. So there was that kind of also flood and heavy rain thing. There was a misconception. So in that case, how to lift the warning? Also, this kind of case was revealed by the survey of the questionnaire or public hearing, like the tsunami. So the way of lifting the the special warning of heavy rain and flood was changed, and in order not to misconcept. And so this kind of thing, basically, it's a continuous effort. If once they update Also, there are different way or misconception, a different perception. So after the earthquake or any types of disaster occur, investigation, thorough investigation of the reception and the recipient perspective and the improvement, and also the massive scale of public relation and the re-evaluation. This process is ongoing and a never-ending process. Then also, we have to mention that the collaboration with the various stakeholders. The awareness raising is not the effort for warning issuing agencies, but also we should bring together with the government and media and local community. As I said, local community might have specific like the cause of misconception because of the embankment or because of the local folklores. So the conception of the risk is somewhat localized. So we cannot do it like the universal, like the one way of telling the information. So collaboration of the stakeholders are critical and will accelerate the dissemination of the information. So my conclusion, so application of we say BMKG, but it's like the warning issues in agency of you can replace it to the warning issuing agency of your country for the better risk communication is that. So periodical check of the interface. I think in the former part of the lecture, you are introduced by the info BMKG or warning receiver system by the lecture. This kind of interface should be periodically checked to ensure that the receiver of the information understand the message properly. Also, when updating the expression and interface, widely disseminate and take time to raise the awareness of the user of the information. For DRR-related agencies, thorough communication of the technical limitation is necessary to understand the potential risk. Yeah, hazard map is hazard map. Of course, they assume the worst case scenario, but it's not 100%, something like this. Also, the INATES is not a magic box that can provide super accurate inundation simulation or inundation information. So we are working under a certain level of uncertainty. Of course, the expert, the scientist should know that fact, but this perception is not always shared by the recipient of the information or a disaster response official. We should be aware of that part when considering the awareness raising and information dissemination. So my part of the lecture is over, and thank you very much. So we have like the approximately 25 minutes for discussion and question and answer. So maybe shall I pass on to the moderator, or how should I do? Or,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Miss Yoko Ota.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the very interesting. It's a really interesting subject because it's always challenging to communicate this risk, especially the tsunami risk, to the people. So, participants, if you have any questions if any one of you would like to share your experience, also we would be very appreciate. So, anyone? Okay, while waiting, participant asking, I actually have one question, Miss Otoyoka. Sorry, Miss Yoka Oto. Uh,
Yes,
which
yes.
one you think is best? Not best, better. Which one you think is better? Um, issuing what is that? Issuing the unadjusted information to the people, or we wait the information to be adjusted, because both of them has a risk. So which one you think is better?
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, actually, that kind of information, the discussion was critical in the discussion of not, showing the numerical value thing. Yes, I didn't touch upon to the uncertainty part of in this lecture because it's a different topic. But of course, accuracy and timing is trade-off somewhat. Yes, we should admit. Then, and I'm not seismologist, so I cannot give you specific numerical figure and formula. But if the earthquake is gigantic and the scale of the earthquake is bigger, the uncertainty is bigger. And also, in the case of Great East Japan earthquake, because of the magnitude underestimation and tsunami underestimation was caused because the earthquake is too strong, and then the seismometer could not grasp the correct value at the very first phase. So that was the cause that even though some area and estimated tsunami, as you may know, the 8-meter, 10-meter tsunami arrived, but the first tsunami warning height was 3 meter. That's because of the calculation issues of that gigantic earthquake. At that time, now, also, it's not a warning message part, but this kind of, possibility of underestimation on the magnitude problem is trying to solve in the different part of the expert. But there are also, the disk cannot be 100% reduced in case of gigantic earthquake. Uncertainty of is high comparing to the small scale earthquake. So yeah, that was discussed. So in that case, the uncertainty and the unadjusted information with smaller estimated value may discourage the people to evacuate. So that kind of thing. So yeah, we acknowledge the uncertainty, higher level of uncertainty in a gigantic disaster. So the decision was not to disclose the information of uncertainty, and that is related to that may cause the underestimation of the damage, or that may cause discouraging the people of the evacuation. So the under uncertainty, just say, but there is possibility for gigantic earthquake expected. We just say, hey, it's emergency. It's emergency by the word to urge the evacuation. So in that case, Japan, also I agree with that. We prioritize urging the evacuation or urging the immediate expression of evacuation as soon as possible should be prioritized more than anything else, because, in the case of gigantic tsunami, embankment cannot protect, and people should evacuate in order to save their life. people should evacuate. So urging the evacuation action of the people is the most prioritized item, considering the accuracy or timing or something like that. Immediately to issue as fast as possible so that people can evacuate the earliest timing. So that was the, I think, conclusion of updating the information and then the policy of issuing tsunami warning messages. Am I answering your question?
Yeah, so if I may get the point, so we can issue the first information, but we really need to choose the word like there is a possibility of, for example, a huge tsunami,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that, and then it's okay. We submit we issued that information, but after that we can update later after some adjustment, right? It's
Yeah.
better to make people aware and do something than we wait until the time is not enough for them to
Yeah.
run.
Yeah. Because in Indonesia, especially,
Yeah.
they are like the
Yes, it's
estimated
very
tsunami
dangerous.
arrival time.
Yeah, time is
So
really
many there.
precious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 minutes. Golden time is less. So many areas, golden time is less than
Yes,
10 minutes and
yes.
5 minutes. So in that
Right.
case, as soon as possible, and then if the magnitude is more than 8, you can say there's a possibility of a gigantic tsunami. So we say, okay, gigantic tsunami, but evacuate immediately. So, and then also there was of course, Japan experiences frequent tsunami. So we experienced the 3-meter tsunami, but actually it was 50 centimeter or something like that. That was a case. There were cases, but we also indicated the technical limitation. We are on the safer side. So that the technology is not perfect, even though the estimated tsunami is less than observed. Don't underestimate. So at the end of the video of the public awareness of the Japanese people, actually there are like the message of the primary school children who are affected by the tsunami. And she said, okay, if I heard 100 times tsunami warning was issued and then actually no serious damage of the tsunami, if I hear the tsunami warning 101 times, I will evacuate. That's the tsunami or something like this. By concluding the awareness raising video of the tsunami warning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Miss Ota,
Yes.
there is one question from Anna from Venezuela on the
Mm-hmm.
chat.
Mm-hmm.
So, Anna, would you like to ask directly or should I read that for you?
Okay. If you okay, you can.
Okay. Based on their experience, would it be more effective? Oh, Anna, would you like to ask directly? I saw you unmuted
Yeah.
yourself. Okay, please go ahead.
Hello, thank
Hi.
you very much, Miss Oda,
Yes.
for this great presentation. Please, based on their experience, do you think will it be more effective to use a qualitative scale rather than a quantitative one when we informing the population about an imminent hazard?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for your question. Yeah. So actually, that I have to say that is depending on the awareness of the people. So, my experience, some country tend to overestimate the damage, and some country tend to underestimate the damage. in case of my country, Japan, they tend to underestimate the risk. But for the case of Indonesia, so for some reasons, I think partly because they may remember the smarter earthquake and tsunami, they are more cautious about the risk. So if they immediately evacuate by seeing the experience. And then also like the numerical figure if they have an embankment of the seawall, that may affect their decision. So I would say it's totally depending, it's local thing. The numerical barrier may be effective to feel the danger in case probably there's no embankment. If the tsunami comes, there is people in the area, nothing to protect. In that case, by showing the numerical area figure may be more effective. But for the area of structural measures, such as embankment, if providing the low figure, the lower than embankment, it's not effective because then they just forget about the risk of, estimated height and observed height will be different. So it's totally in the context of area. So I would recommend to conduct the survey and to perceive the risk of the people in the area. It's totally local, I would say. So question should be a better investigation is necessary to understand the characteristic of the people. This is my answer. Okay. Miss Chair.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Ota.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Miss Oda. And there is another participant, Charles from Ecuador. Please, Charles.
Okay, please.
Hi,
Hi.
Miss Oda. How can we help people to understand that a 2-meter high tsunami is not the same as normal 2-meter waves? If videos are shown, can they be scared? In Ecuador, we haven't had large tsunami waves. When there was a magnitude 7.8 earthquake in 2016, the earthquake was devastating, but fortunately, only very small tsunami waves arrived, 20 or 40 centimeters at low tide. Yeah. But our institute issues wave bulletins all the time, and the Risk Management Secretariat puts in the beach red flags to warn no one to go into the sea because it's dangerous, but they aren't respected, and people often drown. So I think it's a challenge to make them understand how dangerous tsunamis can be. No, and how can we make that people know the dangers of tsunami are?
Thank you very much. Yes, I understand your challenges very much. Yeah, because before the Greater Eastern Japan earthquake, as I showed in the presentation, that was that. They misunderstand maybe storm surge and tsunami or like the flood inundation and tsunami. Actually, what we did in the as I said, educational material, they said what will happen if the 30 centimeter of the tsunami like the adult cannot stand, 50 centimeter tsunami may wash the car out. So this kind of educational material, we created the movies, and also we created the educational material, and also because Japan experienced the inundation, so they have actual like the movie of the tsunami. So we use the audio-visual material of actual tsunami that even in the shallow tsunami is washing the car away. And then so the wave is so fast. So I shouldn't say fortunate, but we had live educational material. But we also really focus on the 50 centimeter of the tsunami is quite dangerous. So yeah, we do have a lot of educational material that mentioned that point. Yeah, that was the most focused point after Great Eastern Japan earthquake to understand the misunderstanding. Yeah, we do have movies and also school education and the government TV program. We use that for the awareness raising.
Okay. And I have another question.
Mhm.
Which educational material is more effective for children? Colored
Mhm.
brochures with little text or educational material that's meant for coloring?
Effective for children.
Effective for children.
Don't you also
because
include the movie?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think
Mhm.
when the text or the book is not so extent,
Mhm.
once they read, they appear, or maybe in basura. ¿Cómo se dice basura? Okay.
Garbage.
It's a part, garbage. Yeah, garbage. It's a part.
Yeah. I talked with the person with the Japan Meteorological Agency for that part. Actually, the most effective educational material was for the kids was they said the leaflet was cartoon character.
Cartoon. I see.
I don't know if it's famous in your country or not. I mean the Ultraman and Shinchan.
Yes, Sinchan is very famous here in Indonesia.
Yeah, actually,
How about in Ecuador?
we use the Shinchan as an
Yeah.
educational material, and then it was uh, very fortunate that the company, the production who created in Shinchan, they said they could provide the publicity right of Shinchan for free in case of educational material, life-saving material. So the production of Shinchan actually cooperated with the Japan uh, Meteorological Agency, and then for the cartoon for the material with Shinchan, they don't throw, they will pay attention and they will bring to home, and then they will tell the parents also. So the people said the JMA, Japan Meteorological people said using the Shinchan or Ultraman was very effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, to keep it. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you,
Thank you.
Miss Ota.
Yes.
Is there any other participant who would like to share your experience, especially in the communicating risk, tsunami risk in your country? I think every country has a different kind of culture, people's cultures, especially in communicating this kind of risk. So I think it will be interesting to hear from you as well. Anyone? All right, I see no one raise their hand. Yeah, so shall we conclude the session, Miss Otta?
Yes, yes, please. Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay then. So once again, I thank you, Miss Ota Yoko, for the very interesting subject of our training today. I think it's very important because it's very important how to make people or community understand, really understand, and and want to do that we are expecting them to do. So this communication part is really, really crucial and important in this tsunami mitigation. So if you have any question, any other question, for example, of course, you can always free to reach Miss Yoko Ota email, right? Miss
Yes,
Ota?
please.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so did the participant have my email or shall I just text?
Is there, do you put that in your slides?
Uh, I don't think so. So, moment. So,
Okay.
okay, just I put my email in the chat box.
Okay. So everyone, you could write down the email address of Yoka Oto in the chat box. So thank you once again, Miss Yoko Ota, and also thank you once again as well to all participants for the patience in joining these interesting sessions. So after this, we will have a post test. So Uh, what time is it now? Okay, we are in time, exactly in time. So now is 12:15 in my country. So it's about 5:15 UTC. So we will have the post test about 30 minutes. After the post test, so 30 minutes it up to 12:45. So you can do your post test, and then after 12:45, we come back to the station for the closing ceremony. And Miss Yoko Ota, if you would like to join later on after 30 minutes from now, you really always welcome to join the closing ceremony.
Okay, and another 30 minutes? Okay, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so
Okay,
I must stay. Maybe I will log out and then I will log in again, maybe?
okay.
Okay.
It's up to you. You can stay or you
Yeah.
can log out and log in again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
Mm-hmm.
everyone, could you please go to the LMS? And in day 5, you will see the post test. 1 minute. Have you seen that? Okay, then please do your test, post test. You have 30 minutes to do that. And good luck.
Where is the post test? Where?
1 minute. 1 minute. Okay, I just aware that it is not up here. 1 minute. I'll check with my colleague. Oh, could you please click on the three, what is that? You have the menu in the left side of your computer. Open course index. That's the course index, and you click on that. And you will see introduction to the course, and then day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. And in that, in their day 5 index, you will find the post test after the rest of this day, and then post test. You can click there. Did you find it, Cheryl? Okay, let me show you how to do that. Okay, did you see my screen? So you go here to the index. Um, oh, no, no, no. Here. So if you were in the LMS, you go to this one, open course index, this one, click, and then go to here. You see introduction, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 6, 5, sorry, and then you will find the post test here. Did you find it? Okay. So good luck. And we will come back at 12:45 or a little bit 47, or good luck for the post test.
Miss Anu,
Yes.
saya sudah klik 2 atau 3 kali tapi tidak bisa. Ada postisnya sudah muncul di sini, tapi saya kliknya tidak bisa jalan itu.
Oh, really? How about Charles? Did you find
Oh,
difficulties in doing the post test?
ya, yes,
So, Joviano,
sudah.
is it okay now?
Ini saya sudah no ada warning di sini.
What is the warning mentioned?
Tandanya beda saya tidak ini.
Oh yeah, and for the post test, please be aware that as I mentioned previously, it is not 60% but 70% minimum. Just as we announced in the beginning in the announcement. So we miswritten here here. We will edit this one. This is not 60% but 70%. But your pretest, I think almost all of you will have a good mark. So don't worry about the post test. I think everyone could do that. Good test.
Hi. Sorry, I
Yes,
just have a question.
sure, please.
The post test. Did you just upload it after the presentation and discussion, or was it uploaded a while back? Because I was attempting it at the same time while you were doing the discussion with Miss what's her name? Otto.
No, it's okay. It's okay because we opened that at 12.
Oh, yeah, okay,
So
okay.
if you already started, it's also okay.
Okay,
So you
all
have,
right.
yeah. So
I
you
thought I
have
had to
30
start.
minutes. No, it's
Okay,
okay. You have 30
okay,
minutes to do that. From the start, from you start it. 30 minutes
okay.
from you start this. So okay, good luck.
Right. Thank you so much.
No worries. Joviana, how about that? Are you okay now? Alright, no, I stop share.
Miss Annie? Hello.
Yes, Silviano? Yes, tell
Can
me.
can I share my screen?
Sure, sure. Please, please.
Okay. Which one? This one. Munculnya
Okay.
begini. Ya, ada warna ini
Oh, what
begini
happened?
nih.
Oh, I
You can
see.
see. Okay.
Started on 17 July, revenue statement. What happened to that? Post test question will not yet answered, mark out of. Can you make it smaller?
Sorry.
Because it seems like but never submitted. Okay.
Never
It is
submitted. Yes.
okay, maybe you can go back.
Okay.
Can you go back? I mean go out from the test. How to go out from the test from your screen? Is there any submit or you haven't? Okay. Go down. Yes. Try to click the post test. Yes, that
What's
one.
this?
Yes, click.
Yes. Please
Wait.
complete the following thing. You must effort in the post test to the past course.
No. Yeah, it's you must have it should be like 70. No, it's only that one. Never submit summary.
Summary for your previous attempt. State never submit, grade, review, and so only review this, but no have attempt. Open this to so only review.
What's happened? Oh, you already have grade there. No. It's already
Yeah.
submit. Can you check all of your activities from the beginning?
Yes, I
Introduction
already
here. You already have this job,
introduction.
I remember. Okay, and
Yes.
then second
and then
one is also
forum also I
yes.
comment in the forum.
Yeah.
And pretest I already submitted.
Okay.
Complete this one
And
always.
wait.
Day.
Could you go back? Yeah, this one. Could you go back to the pretest?
Pretest. Okay.
Yes. Down a little bit down. Scroll down. And here,
Submit
right side. It's finished. So when you click on posters, what is mentioning there? Go to the posters. Is it different with this one?
Go to the posters. Okay. Never submit. Time limit 30 minutes. Grade pass 6 submit of yours. Never submit. Not yet.
Budget
And
what is this?
and this review.
Maybe you can you go back to the previous activities?
Previous
Go back to
activities.
previous activities, yes.
You can rate this include module organization contact learning activities.
Previous activities.
There is a
Can you go back to the previous activities again?
okay. This
You
the
already
presentation. Yes, I read this.
yeah, this is you have
two
completed
slide.
100%.
Yeah, yes, I have complete 100% of lesson. So
Okay.
I click the next activity.
Mhm.
And next again, no have
There is no
activity.
I see.
Yes.
Okay, let me consult this. Let me consult
And
this with Haris later on after he finish his Friday break. We will get back to you. Please stay here because we will
okay.
have the closing session later on. And don't worry, we will try to find the solution for this for you.
Okay. Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, no worries. Yeah, it's weird. So if you have done the post test, you can also fill in the course feedback and certificate. Yeah, that's also mandatory for the certificate. Yoviano, could you please try again the post test? Haris has given you the second attempt for you to do the post test. Could you please try again?